My name is Dani, I'm an art instructor, and you're tuned in to the Able Artswork Virtual Learning channel. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I'm going to show you how to use your colored pencils to draw and color some apples. So the colored pencils that I have here, I've got some browns and some golden yellows and reds. One of them is even a little bit of a purple red. So you're just going to want to grab these types of colored pencils, as many as you've got around. The more colors, the more textured you're going to be able to make your apples. So you can grab your materials and a fresh sheet of paper and we can get started. I'm going to start with one of my red colored pencils. Let's take a second to talk about the shape of apples. If we think on our knowledge of basic 3D shapes, the closest one to the shape of an apple would be a sphere. But apples have a heavy indent in the top and a smaller indent in the bottom. So we're going to take our pencil and start at the indent from the top, just making this little arc. And we're going to pull the sides down, both directions, try to make it symmetrical, these curved lines. Then on the bottom, we're going to add an arc going in the opposite direction, but we're going to make it smaller than the one on the top. If you have an apple around, or next time you're at the store, you can pick one up and turn it over in your hand, and you'll see that the indent on the top is much larger than the one on the bottom. So next, let's take the same colored pencil. We're going to lightly color it in, but we're going to do it by making these arcs that look like they're placed across the top of the surface. So they will be curving all around the surface as though we've put a grid on top of it. So when we're putting our pencil down, imagine that we are tracing over the surface, which is fairly round. And that's how we're going to color it in. We're going to go very lightly. This is just going to be our base color, and as we add more colors and start to layer them, using these same arcs, we will start to press down harder. So that's pretty good for a base color. Now I'm going to take one of my yellow colored pencils, because I want to make a Fuji apple that has those yellow patches, and I'm going to start coloring in where I want to have those golden marks. You can have them anywhere on the apple. Apples are all extremely distinct from each other. I'm just making about 3 different marks for the surface. And you can press down hard for these. Now let's go back to our red colored pencil. We're going to start pressing down a little bit harder, and I'm not going to make these marks all the way across the yellow marks. I want those to shine through pretty strongly, but we can overlap them a little bit to give them a gradient, and we're just going to be utilizing those curved lines. We really want to show the streaks on the apple that will be going over the surface. So you can take red, brown, and yellow colored pencils, start layering them. I'm going to take one of my darker red colored pencils. You can use it for a bit of an outline. And use it a little bit, maybe towards the bottom for some shading. You can use any of these colors for some streaks across the apple. All apples look very different from each other, so there's no right or wrong way to put each of these streaks on the surface. So I am now going to speed up my video to show how I've layered all of these colors. So we got something like that. Just gonna add a little stem. Now let's move on to doing a golden yellow apple. You can just take your yellow colored pencils and your brown ones and layer them in a similar way. So let's start again at the top with the bigger indent. Pull the sides down. And end with a smaller indent on the bottom. And let's color that in the same way, with curved lines going across the surface. And then we can start going in with some darker yellows and some light browns, trying to make the same streaks across the surface as we did before. So I'll speed up my video again to show how I've layered my colors. Feel free to use different types of yellows and browns and put darker streaks in different places to make your apples unique. Okay, great. Just gonna add my little stem. And if you want, you can add any other finishing touches. I hope you had fun drawing with me today. I hope that you picked some nice colors for your apples and try experimenting with some different reds, even some yellows or purples. Check out the other videos on our channel about art, language, and theater.